This week on Last Call presents Doctor Who, the conclusion to an unearthly child. First, in the Forest of Fear, having been captured by prehistoric cave dwellers, the Doctor and his companions are freed by Old Mother on condition they will leave the tribe and not make fire. The group attempt to return to the TARDIS, but Za and Hur follow them. Then, in the Firemaker, Pal accuses Za of Old Mother's murder, but the Doctor exposes him as the real killer. However, Za then insists the travellers be held prisoner until they show him how to make fire. Will the Doctor teach the tribe of Gum the secrets of fire making? We'll find out starting right now.
Welcome. Good to see everybody here. It looks like a full house tonight. As I say hi to all of you guys entering, make sure you go ahead and click on that Cosme link pinned to the top. Get in, start filing in so you can watch along with us. And I'm going to start saying hi, starting with Big Al at Big Al Presents, who says, have a great rewatch, my friends. Thank you so much. Connie Cleary, the Bird Woman of YouTube and Fluff Chick Productions. Welcome. JBRPH1, I saw you in the chat over on the other stream saying you were doing your best to stay awake for Doctor Who. I so appreciate it. Deleted Scenes, salute to you, my friend. It was a great little conversation over there. Thanks for coming on over. Yes, he says I'm still awake. There you go. Reserved Seats Raid, thank you so much. Netter of Netters Network, hello, my love. I love you too.
Yay!
Yay! We love each other. Deleted says, like, share, subscribe, become a member, gift a membership, do all the clicky things. Thank you so much. Kills Bugs Dead. Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. And I knew you meant Bugs. And Curtis Selby. Welcome. Good to see you. Well, Netter pointed out that my thumbnail was the same one from last week, and that's right, because and these things weren't codified back in the 60s when they first did Doctor Who, but they had planned these out in batches of stories. And some people consider the first 4 stories to all be one story arc, An Unearthly Child. And others say that the very first one, An Unearthly Child, stands on its own, whereas the other 3 represent a separate story arc, the Firemakers. But I happen to be a classicist. They broke them up into groups of 4, so I am considering this part 2 of the first story arc, which was An Unearthly Child. So let us go ahead and get right down to it. Again, the link is right up at the top, and I'm going to go ahead and get us started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And let me pull up my notes. Doodly-doo.
And hello, Darth Plato.
Welcome, Darth Plato. Good to see you. Of course it's all your fault. You took off and kidnapped these people. And now you're trapped. So although it was never specified in script or, in dialogue or anything, some have pointed out that there's nothing that specifies that this is actually prehistoric Earth. Could be another planet, could be the far future. You don't know. But apparently this episode actually takes place approximately 100,000 years BC. Yeah, Curtis. I think I mentioned last week. In the filming of these episodes, those skeletons are actually real skeletons, and apparently it smelled quite terrible in that studio.
Isn't that like desecration of bodies?
No, they were taken from a. The bodies had been donated, so they could be used, but they weren't being cared for in such a way that would make them pleasant props to use in teleplay. And this has been true for a long time. The idea that using cadavers is actually cheaper than making props. Dennis, there's some lovely filth down here. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not taking this from any specific online trivia or anything. This is more or less anecdotal. The narrative behind early Doctor Who was always that there was an assumption that early Doctor Who was going to be educational, dealing with historical stories. They did kind of abandon that rather early on and started doing more focus on sci-fi and Monster of the Week. But I do feel like these episodes from the 60s strike differently now, because what was considered entertainment, what was considered scary, thrilling, captivating, very different back then. This idea of cavemen was probably a little bit more intriguing to kids back then than it would be now. And they were very simplistic about it. Oh, cool. I'm sorry I missed that, Darth Plato. There was a classic Doctor Who retrospective today on the Outcast Creative. I was one of the panelists. Good zingers. Wow, that's pretty cool. Whose closet the skeletons came from? I don't know. That I don't know specifically. The royal families, maybe? It is England. Howdy, Curtis. I thought you'd said hi earlier, didn't you? Oh no, I guess you did just get here. Never mind. I guess I just assumed you were here earlier on. Now, I don't recall if this specific episode or these two specific episodes get into this, but earlier on, there was an idea that either the Doctor could not or would not change history. And there was debate over which was the case. It obviously wasn't until after 2005 that they decided that certain things could be changed and certain things could not be changed, which was, of course, their way of going back and dealing with retroactively with canon, where sometimes the Doctor would say you can't change history, and sometimes he literally was responsible for changing history. See, the other thing I always kind of scratched my head a little bit about was if your idea was to be at least nominally educational, you would think that having the two teachers as companions, have one of them talking about this recent discovery of, such and such man who had discovered, such and such tools in and around this time, so on and so forth. Actually, that's probably the wrong line there, JPRPH1. It should be fixed points can't be rewritten. Non-fixed points can. I'll have to go back and watch that episode again. Hello, computer. Yes, exactly.
Oh, stop being hysterical. Someone's going to smack you. They're coming to get you, Bob.
Yes, I've thought that many, many times. I also want to mention the actor William Russell, who plays Ian Chesterton. He just passed away not too long ago in 2024. He was 100 years old. He was born in 1924. He died in 2024. Welcome to the jungle, right? I am also going to say this. I am not in favor of them rebooting Doctor Who, like going back and starting from the beginning. But if they did, think about a storyline like this. they could take 4 episodes, condense it into one 1 hour, episode, and they could do it so much better, so much more realistically. I mean, you know?
What was the dead thing?
It was a boar.
So look, she's got a big mouth.
Yeah. I honestly, for the life of me, can't tell if that's a real boar or a prop. No worries, Curtis. I understand how those things go.
Danger, danger, Will Robinson.
The robot was always in Lost in Space was always saying danger, danger. He never once said mild inconvenience, mild inconvenience. Shout, shout, let it all out. So, fans of the more recent Doctor Who would be kind of taking note that his character is obviously very different here, where he's trying to get everyone to go back to the ship, and everyone else is saying, no, we gotta help. Welcome, Peter Venkman's girl. The Peter Venkman fan site. Welcome. So good to see you. You know how this works. We got the Cosme link up above. The show, we're not too far into it. The Doctor and the companions were trying to escape from the Firemakers, and they would have done if they hadn't run into something that scared the women that caused them to scream. But now one of the tribesmen has been severely injured. They're trying to help him.
Oh, let's admit it. It was all Barbara. Screaming like crazy.
Well, yes, but you're going to see that their interactions here are going to be for the best. So now we got the first time where the Doctor claims to not be a doctor of medicine. They're going to make a stretcher. We're not going to take it. We'll never make it. Now, maybe I am reading it too much into this story here, but you have fire being kind of exalted as the necessary tool for the leader for the survival of the tribe. They jealously control and protect the knowledge of how to build fire to the point where when the chief dies, no one else in the tribe knows how to make fire. You have an older woman who doesn't want them to have fire because she sees it as dangerous. So, in other words, the whole something progressive, something that's going to cause change is bad, you know, or seeing it as, knowing that people are warlike, so they'll use it against each other, and you could read all kinds of anthropological commentary into it. Yeah, Land of the Lost, exactly, Curtis. Yeah, I had heard that they brought Carol Ann Ford back for New Trek, but unfortunately it was after the Capaldi era, so I don't consider that canon. There was a reference in last week's episode where the caveman referred to fire as either coming out of the wood or out of his fingers. And right up to ancient Greece, it was believed that fire was something that was held within wood and other combustible things. Stay with us for the conclusion of this story. By the way, although I'm not talking a whole lot about the expanded universe and books and comics and whatnot, there is a story in which that references that when Ian stopped the Doctor from killing Za, it secured his love of humans and made him realize how they kept him from slipping into villainy. In other words, implying that at this young age, his life could have taken a very, very different course. And again, I say young age relative to, how long lived the Doctor is by the time of David Tennant and Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. Now, obviously, this episode is called The Firemaker, so that probably gives you a little hint to how the story is going to go from here. His original life is the longest he's lived a single life. Has that been established in canon? The only reason I say that is because there is a lot of speculation as to how long he spends as any given Doctor. Some of them we are able to see from regeneration to regeneration and be able to account for all of the time, usually because a companion is with him at all times. But there are some incarnations where he goes for a period of time without a companion. And there is the possibility of there being stories in between episodes. So people have speculated that there was a period where, for example, the first iteration of the David Tennant Doctor lived a very, very long time. But logic from what we observe would imply you're probably right about that. If you figure he's probably in his 60s or 70s by appearance, this might be the longest lifespan of a individual. This would have been the Doctor who was born on Gallifrey, who went to the academy, who was, when he went to school, was called Theta Sigma by his friends and so forth. I'll take you at your word on that. I'm not sure that's ever been stated in canon, but again, this is the kind of thing that's absolutely left open. And there is a doctor's age question at any given time, and I kind of felt like they kind of addressed it in the later post 2007 when River Song says the doctor lies. So every time the doctor says how old he is, I'm guessing he's probably just messing around. I think he forgets himself. Now, here's a different piece of trivia related to the, in quotes, age of the Doctor. If we're not talking about in-universe age, when we're talking about actors who have played the Doctor in the most stories, you'd be surprised. Paul McGann, for a very long time, I don't know if it was still true in the post-Tennant era, but as of 2005, 2010, in that area, Paul McGann had the record of having appeared in the most Doctor Who stories if you take into account the audio stories from Big Finish. Now, you could very easily make the argument, well, those are non-canon. However, in Night of the Doctor, he does reference his companions from those audio stories, implying that they might be canon. The original title for this episode was going to be The Dawn of Knowledge. And this is very interesting because he is obviously showing signs that he's making good leadership realizations, learning that the whole of the community is stronger than any one individual and so forth. This would be the one that originally went to the... Yes! By Troughton's doctor told Victoria he was about 3 or 430 years, and Romana corrects Tom on his age. Yeah, but see, this is what I mean. You know, they clearly were playing fast and loose with that, and I think the doctor lied about his age from time to time. He may have been telling the truth sometimes, but he may have been joshing at other times.
The Doctor is vain.
Yes. I also think for someone as long-lived as the Doctor, the meaning of age becomes irrelevant, I think. It's very interesting that he acknowledges the Doctor as their leader. Well, don't stick your head in it, you dumbass. Even you know that. You've seen fire before. All the way. All the way. Mm. So, the original script, the caveman make peace with the time travelers after Ian shows them how to make fire. But regardless, you do see that Ian did show them how to make fire. So one could argue that they've changed history by teaching this tribe how to make fire.
Are you laughing because they're such bad fighters?
Well, I was laughing at him biting the guy, but yeah, essentially that's true.
Well, there's no coming back from that.
Yeah.
Don't touch it, you idiots.
Tell me the secret of man's red fire. Ooh, 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 I want to be like you. Ooh, ooh. That's funny, JPRPH1. I wonder how I'll look when I get older. Eat that, Benjamin Button.
Yes, but are they smart enough to keep the fire lit?
Well, more importantly, are they smart enough to be able to make it from scratch if they should have to? Gee, it's almost as if the concept of slavery has existed for as long as man has existed. And let's be honest, the secret of fire is something that was probably discovered repeatedly by different people in different parts of the world many times.
This is why you shouldn't leave the TARDIS.
When you're doing a chase scene, by zooming in real close and saying, "Pretend to run in place." Yep, angry mob. We've landed somewhere.
Yeah. At this point, we don't know.
Uh,
Well, not anymore.
so, yeah. So, whereas these first 4 episodes were arguably either one story arc or 2, the next story arc is very clearly a 7-episode story arc, starting with, as you just saw, the dead planet. The name of the 7 episodes is The Dead Planet, The Survivors, The Escape, The Ambush, The Expedition, The Ordeal, and The Rescue. Collectively, the 7 episodes are known to the fans as the Daleks. We begin our first encounter with the Daleks next week. I hope you can join me. I hope you are looking forward to it. Netter is coming to say goodnight because she is going to bed.
Yes, because it's Monday now and I have to work soon.
I understand. I've got to stay up and get the streams ready for tomorrow.
So, night, y'all.
But thank you all so much for hanging out with me Thank you for, you know what? Just thank you for encouraging me. Super appreciate you guys, all of you. And take care. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.